Let me start with something near and dear to our heart, beer. Jim Koch, the founder and CEO of Boston Beer Company, a good friend, for years when his company was doing community engagement and volunteerism, it translated largely into many activities that all of us are engaged in. Painting fences, or cleaning up a schoolyard or a room as part of a community project. Now, I get an extraordinary good feeling spending an afternoon painting a fence. I'm not really very good at it. I have a set of skills that I actually believe are substantially more profound and more useful than painting a fence. My wife never asks me to paint a fence at home. My kids would never ask me to engage in any manual activity in support of anything they care about. So why all of a sudden, when I'm engaged in community philanthropy, do I go out and paint a fence? So Jim Koch sits back and he says, he adds up all of the employee hours that are spent painting fences and says, yes, this is important, and yes, this feels good, but it's not the best use of our time, and it's not the best use of our money. So he and the employees sat down and said, well, who are we? Well, we're a small company. We're in Jamaica Plain and other parts of Boston, surrounded by other small food and beverage entrepreneurs, as well as aspiring entrepreneurs in the sector. So why don't we do something that leverages our core strategy to help our communities? So now they put on events 2 times a year called speed consulting. If you're a small food or beverage person, you get free consulting to help you with your business. And they also provide microfinance support to financially underserved food and beverage entrepreneurs. Beyond that, they do seminars, workshops, and mentoring where the Boston Beer employees are doing something they know and expertise they have one-on-one as well as to small groups of entrepreneurs. And there are hundreds of current and aspiring entrepreneurs that have participated in these events. This is relevant, this is important, and like I said, we're building a business like ourselves to be successful in food and beverage. Boston Beer does amazing things for their community. Their employees love it, and they are a public company, right? They are a public company. This fits beautifully with a public company mission. Now, another great example here in the MetroWest region and elsewhere in Greater Boston was started by Kevin McCall, who's the president and CEO of Paradigm Properties, who won the Grand Circle Foundation Social Leader Award just a couple years ago. Kevin owns buildings and rents space to small companies as well as to large companies like Intel and IBM for their local offices. And he founded a not-for-profit called Building Impact that makes it easy for employees to mobilize for the benefit of their local community right from where they work. Now, regardless of who the parent company is, employees can join forces with other people in their building, working together on a project or activity that makes them all feel like a community within a community. So you don't have to do it yourself. You can partner with other businesses that are doing things that your employees want to do, and you can make yourselves much bigger than you are and relevant to many more people. Now, I learned that quite personally in the context of Babson College. As, if I'm speaking in Boston, I say, we're a small school 14 miles west of Boston, largely because we have to help people in Boston locate activities in the MetroWest community. Here, at least, I'm with a group that knows where we are and what we do. But the reality is we're a small school with ambitions, to actually change the world through entrepreneurship, recognizing that entrepreneurship is the most powerful force for economic and social value creation that exists on earth. And we actually have the arrogance to believe that we can impact the world in fundamental ways. And we do it very simply. We do it with partnering with a portfolio of like-minded people. It's just that simple. So what Building Impact has done, it's gone way beyond Kevin's buildings. Now they're partnering with 14 building owners and managers to leverage a portfolio of 60 buildings to increase involvement in the community. Almost 20,000 employees now from more than 500 companies in 50 buildings in 15 communities in Greater Boston, MetroWest, and Merrimack Valley are participating in community service simply by virtue of the network that is established by physical co-location in an office building. Right? For God's sake, if you can network with people that you no longer care about but somehow get curious about through Facebook, being in the same building has to be a much more profound basis for community interaction, okay, than discovering what someone who you didn't care about in the first grade is now doing. So, and it just works so powerfully. And as these two examples clearly show, the social innovation is about looking at who you are and creating something that's socially and commercially relevant. As a company, why would you have your corporate social relevance strategy be any less profound than your business strategy for your community? Why should it be left to an afterthought? Why should it be kind of a, oh yeah, that's what we do at the end of the day? Why shouldn't it be fully integrated into your strategy? And what Jim Cook and Kevin McCall have done for their companies tells me that they're social innovators as well as business entrepreneurs. Now let's turn to a global example. Since 2008, IBM has sent over 1,000 employees on 80 teams to 20 countries for 1-month service learning assignments through its corporate service corps. In Tanzania, IBM teams collaborate with Kickstart, a nonprofit exploring new technologies to fight poverty in Africa, by developing modular e-training courses in marketing, sales, and supply chain management for local entrepreneurs. Why is IBM doing this? Is this just because they're nice? No, it's to open new markets, to develop a new generation of socially conscious leaders, and to bring to life its corporate commitment to, quote, innovation that matters for our company and the world. And so the third example suggests, along with the other two, any size company can be a leader in corporate social innovation, in its community, in its region, or in the world. So how do you get started? Well, to figure out what you can do to be socially relevant in the communities where you operate, you simply want to look at your core business and your strategy and how you can lever it. Stick to your strategy and where you can best use your resources, your people, your products, your services, and your supply chain to further a social goal that's mission important to your business. At Babson, we use a method known as entrepreneurial thought and action that we teach our students and companies to help them get started. The fundamental rule and the fundamental principle associated with entrepreneurial thought and action in a highly uncertain environment is to don't overthink the issue. Engage in rapid cycle, low-cost experimentation to figure out what works. Just do something. Almost anything. Now. And commit to doing after-action reviews to get a sense of the kinds of impact it's having and the direction that it's going, and then modify on the fly as you go forward. Sitting back and engaging in a multi-year planning process will ensure by the time you have reached your conclusion, your answer will be largely irrelevant. Every company can figure out who they are. Every company can know who their people are and the things that excite them and how they want to be socially relevant. Any company can figure out the resources they can bring, who the potential partners can be, and then take some small steps. So alongside the financial infusion into community foundations, organizations like the Fund for MetroWest that have a profound knowledge about the needs and the resource base in the community are exactly the kinds of organizations that you need to be partnering up with for the kind of insight that will enable you to do the strategic work and, more importantly, the action work to just get started on this journey. It is no longer going to be an option. There is a reason there is a cynicism about the 1%. There is a reason there is a cynicism about corporations in general. And a lot of that cynicism is in fact justified by the exaggerated behavior of a few bad apples in the cohort that actually generate the headlines. The reality is all of us have an opportunity to not live our lives like Alfred Nobel. All of us have the opportunity to write the obituary we'd like to see today for ourselves as business leaders and for our companies in the community, and to get started moving forward on the opportunities to recognize in a place and in an environment where government has extraordinarily limited capability to insert itself in all sorts of activities that it no longer has the resources to be able to impact. That we need to recognize the power of the market and the power of enterprise to not only become an effective substitute for things that government can no longer do, but in fact to recognize how much better you can be than governmental institutions ever were in providing incredibly needed services and supports to build the kinds of communities that all of us want to continue to live in as we go forward. So I hope in some small way you come away with, if someone says, so what did he say? All right? What did he say? He said 3 things. One is whether you like it or not, you don't have a choice. All right? You ignore what I said today at your own peril, because there's a whole portfolio of young people who are looking up at you and watching everything you do. Number 2 is it's not as hard as you think in terms of being able to figure out how to leverage these activities, not so that it's a side issue, but it's a core part of your business strategy. And 3 is, for God's sake, just get started. Thanks again for the opportunity to be with you.